So we just recently printed two three-bedroom homes. That was a single story up to 2.7 meters high. I think there was 4 days of printing for each home. 2 to 3 man operation. Half the time you're just sitting there doing nothing, right? You're watching the iPad, watching the camera. And it's awesome.
G'day guys, welcome to the MTDC Lounge. This is a podcast that breaks down everything you need to know about designing and building your ultimate home and what to expect. Whether you're a DIY renovator, a budding developer, or everything in between, we'll dive into the building journey, touching on what to expect, what's next, and how to go about it. We'll hear from a heap of experienced consultants and trades about all aspects. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the lounge. G'day guys, and welcome to another incredibly special episode of the MTDC Lounge. You have your host today, Matt, and we have Nick Holden from Contour 3D. Today, we're going to talk about 3D printing a house. I know it's incredibly weird to think about it. It's not about plastics. It's not about all those funny things that you see online. This is actually 3D printed houses out of cement and all of the extra aggregates. You're going to find out all about it tonight on the episode. Going to ask all the questions about efficiencies, environmentally friendly avenues, and the new way to build a house. This is a fantastic episode, and I think you're going to love it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do to catch more episodes just like it. Yes, had a big dive into your business and kind of what you do, and it's almost inevitable. Hey, like you see the 3D printing going off with all the products at the moment. You know, you can print almost anything these days, and it's just been one of those things that's just been slowly developing and you're doing it, which is really, really cool. So I want to ask you all about it. I want to ask you all the questions about it, and kind of how it relates to the building industry as a whole, I guess. So to start off, I mean, talk to me about who you are, how you got here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity for your audience, because I really do enjoy, spreading the word, I suppose, for want of a better term. We've worked very hard to get the technology to where it is. And typically people think you're further ahead than you are, but realistically, we've only been doing it for 4 years, I suppose, full time. But it's good, it's exciting. And 3D printing is going to happen, or some form of automation, because, it is really the last major industry to be automated. Cars, butcheries, every other industry sort of taking it up, but we're still swinging hammers.
Yeah, still lagging behind. I mean, you get curves in. Like, curves are a massive thing at the moment, and you get your rounded edges. I mean, I've watched it overseas, and you see some just absolutely amazing looking houses, and it's almost reinventing, I guess, the design world, because you get to do these really cool round houses, bubble houses, all these things that kind of come into play when it comes to 3D stuff. And you said 4 years, which is amazing. How like, as a development, like, how have you gone as a business, and how do you find yourself injecting yourself into the industry?
Yeah, well, it's probably a little. I started out same 2020, really, just part time when my other business got locked down in COVID. So I got bored sitting at home. I was going to kill a child, I think. So I went into the factory, closed the door, and I grabbed my mechatronic engineers. Because I'd seen it overseas in Russia on YouTube, and at that time, there wasn't many people in the world doing it, on a larger scale. There was a lot of people, well, not a lot, few people doing it with robotic arms, and the ones that build cars doing plant pots and chairs and furniture. I really wanted to build, a house-sized printer. Yeah, I'm a machine builder, and in a former life, and so we sort of we took it on. There was no instruction book, so it was the hardest thing I've probably ever done. So we had to build the machinery, write the software, and then develop the materials to the point they are now. So it was a hell of a lot of work, a spider's web of problems, and it was problems, to pull together to get what we have today, the quality and the consistency, and something we can really hang our hat on as one of the best layer qualities in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a certain program? What's the kind of machinery that you have? I mean, as you develop as a business, and I guess as a service, I mean, what are the next things for 3D printing?
Yeah, so it's further automation, I think. So we're keeping to adding further automation, and simplifying the machinery and the software systems, so anyone can use them. You want someone with the knowledge of Excel. If you can use Excel, you can run the printer. So, and that's where to some degree it's been good, because we built our own machinery, we designed our own machinery. I wasn't happy with the software systems, and there was no specific ones, right? We're trying to modify plastic printer ones for a desktop, or using CNC mill, like a six-axis, and it just wasn't there. You're trying to you're a builder, you're trying to put extensions on an extension on an extension on an extension. It just needed. So in the end, I put three software engineers on, and we built our own software platform, which is ultimately expandable, and we've got cloud-based servers and capturing all the data, all the camera feeds. You can watch it live, to the point where we can actually, for a customer's machine, all the machines got Wi-Fi. Sorry, not Wi-Fi, got 5G or Starlink. So we can actually dial into a customer's machine on request and take control of the machine if they've got a problem or they're sort of trying to get. So we're not leaving people stranded, throwing them a printer and knock yourself out.
Yeah, yeah. So what's obviously there has to be an element of cement. What other products are in the 3D printing process?
Yeah, the mix is critical, obviously, very important, and it's not normal concrete by any stretch of the imagination. Maximum aggregate size is 5 millimeters, so it's more probably classified as a mortar, or it is in that regard. But so we had two full-time material scientists. One of them was Borrell's ex-technical manager, and the other guy's a doctor of material science. So we really, really
Covered. Yeah, yeah.
oh, killing me. But we weren't getting anywhere with the major suppliers. Really, they just want to take 3 years and all the rest of it. So we had a great relationship with the University of New South Wales initially, after we sort of got going. But then we took on the material scientists, and we're at a point now where we've just got an amazing mixture. We've got 16 herbs and spices in there that turns we sort of mix crusher dust, sand. We're down to sort of about 12 to 15% Portland cement only, and we'll keep driving that down. But part of we're in a material sense, in a volume sense, we're 40% recycled with a mixture. So we're getting there, but and we're achieving 56 to 60 MPa, and that's only with that amount of that amount of cement. But we're getting elasticity as well. So it's not just like you're not printing a stick of chalk, because you can't bend a stick of chalk, right? So
particularly in Newcastle, there's a lot of mine subsidence, a lot of landslip, all that kind of stuff. So that's 100% going to come into play. Now I want to get a little bit nerdy and all. Like this conversation, I'm looking forward to it, because there's a lot of questions about this that I want to know, and I know we're probably going to get really heavy into
stuff, right? Ask me the dirty questions. That's what anyone can answer the easy ones.
Well, I think the tricky bit is trying not to get too information dense to kind of to bore everybody who's listening. But there's certain things that I kind of want to know. So too bad for everybody else. So when designing a home, there's obviously going to be certain design factors that will become difficult because of the rigidity. Doesn't matter how elastic your product is, there's always going to be some sort of problem with movement and things like that. What do you find is the hardest? Because I know what I would assume would be the hardest, but I mean, what do you find the hardest thing to do with your product when designing a home?
Homes are quite easy, to be honest, because you've got a long lap time. You're not worried about, because we can tune the mixture to cure fast, to cure slow, to cure. We can add additives in during the process. So to be honest, homes are probably the easiest element that we build. Print, got to get that word "build" out of my vocabulary. Uh, when you're printing a column, which is 400 million diameter, and you got literally a 5 to 6 second lap time, so we're pumping accelerants in and mixing it at the head. You got steam coming off this thing, but we can literally keep printing. So I suppose that's the hardest when you're printing small elements.
Can you explain to me, and I guess to everybody, like head time, all of your little buzzwords that you just had? How can we explain to everybody, if they're going to design and build a home through this printing way, what are the things that they can expect?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I'd encourage them to reach out. We can send them a design guide and what you can do, and and we're always happy to consult on that. We don't charge for that, but yeah, I mean, you can incorporate we get a lot of people coming to us with square plans. You know what I mean? And we've got that many people coming to us in that regard. We just say no. If that's what it's not us. It's not our jam. We don't need that sort of amount of work. But yeah, you can go. You can have design freedom. You can do your curves. You can do cantilevered walls, and maybe you'll flash up a few photos of the house I'm in now, where we've got some really wild walls. And I always say to people, it might be, and I love it. It's really different. People walk in, it's like, wow. You know. And in the kitchen, I've got a wall that starts at the bottom, goes in 300 mil, and then 3 meters up in the air, it's sort of 3.5. It comes back to square. So it's and I love stuff like that. It might be like velvet wallpaper, in about 10 years' time, but it comes back.
I can see your textured wall up the back behind you there, and then just down to your right there, you've got a flat wall. So I assume they're the easy finishes and things like that.
So I call it a corduroy effect, I suppose. And this is printed by a third generation printer. We're up to our fourth now. We've got a lot more self-correction and automation in the system, and we've really tried to dumb that down. But yes, so we can scrape the wall as we're going now. We've got a print head that'll scrape, and it gives you about a 90% finish. And then after an hour, you can sponge it, or so you can have that flat rendered look. Or if you're tiling in a bathroom, but you want the corduroy effect everywhere else, you've got the flexibility to turn that function on or off.
Yeah, so assuming that you're like it's basically a cement concrete finish, right? So I'm assuming that fixing all of your products on the outside of your all the same. And I'm assuming that your BASIX rating and all your bits and pieces come pretty well. I mean, pretty highly rated.
You'll love this. Obviously, a basic rating is a tick box exercise, on DA. It's part of your slab, part of your windows, and we've got the double glazed in here. But it got to 7.9, and we didn't have solar. We had 2 kilowatts of solar or something stupid. They made us, or kilowatts. So we got to 7.9, and then afterwards, and we got a cavity in the wall, right? So no noggins, all the plumbing, all the what's-the-names in there, pumped granular insulation in it. We had environmental engineers come in and do an actual as-built. We got 13.
Yeah, wow.
So it was amazing. And I'm an aircon guy, right? I was going to turn the aircon on, turn the heating on, but never have anything on in here. It's cool, cool or hot. So really surprising.
And I guess the service. So, oh man, okay, I got lots of questions. So I guess all right, to lead into the more of the questions. So for boxing out niches, extra finishes, like creating holes in your walls and things like that, I assume it's just similar to formwork. You're just placing in your I guess your niches and bits and pieces.
I said with niches, like for the bathroom, for example, we did get a fiberglass niche for the wall, and it was easier to continue printing. And then after about an hour, I sort of just half cut it out and then pushed it out the next day.
And running conduits and I guess all of your bits and pieces that I dare say they would go through your walls, and you just place in your plastic conduits and you run those.
Really easy, yeah, really simple, because carpenters loved it. It's like a double, no noggins, no anything. So we brought all the services down the side of the house, and I printed like a knob in the wall, I suppose, between the kitchen and the lounge room. So it all went up. We printed to 4 meters high, 3.5 meter high ceilings, and everything from that one point sort of distributed itself up or down throughout the house. So really quick. So you drop the conduit down or the wire. And then we either print over the top of the PowerPoints, like the boxes, or same again. You can cut them out, after an hour or two. But this is a cool thing because it's code, right? You can just put a wobble in the wall where the PowerPoint's meant to be. So you don't have to measure. You can't make a mistake. You know what I mean?
So I guess the only downfall is that you'd want to know a fair bit in advance where all of your services and all your bits and pieces are going to go prior to approval.
You don't have to. I mean, then it just goes back to a normal method. You cut it out with a diamond blade, push it out, and send the wire up.
Yeah, and then you'd finish it with the cement, or come back over with a render.
Put the box in and the cover plate. We got those ones with the sort of 5 mil foam on the back of the. It's just perfect.
Ah, that's fantastic. G'day guys, just quickly, if you're finding this podcast info relevant to you, then I'd like to quickly talk to you about what we do at MT Design Collective. You hear us talk all the time about the importance of solid detailed home design practices so that you're not left with extra fees, delays or unexpected costs in building your ultimate home. Here at MTDC, we design homes and provide plans that builders love to build and councils love to approve. If you're looking at a renovation, a new build, or alteration, then we'd love to help you work out the next steps forward. Book a free, no obligation chat with us, and we'll come out to your site, as it's the only way to truly get authentic, no bullshit advice. Link is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. So, and you mentioned that you can go. Well, you mentioned that you've got 3.5 meter high ceilings. Is there a certain height that you can go before that becomes probably not appropriate?
Not really. We can print up to 4 meters. That's probably our limitation with this particular printer. But yeah, not really. You sort of keep going because we have a 50 millimeter layer that we print, sausage. The cavity can be whatever you want it to be. Then another 50 mil layer, and we link them together with fiberglass reinforcement bars. So you're getting a really stiff composite sort of wall at the end of it. It just keeps going.
Do you so you can do 4 meters? Can you do 2-story?
Yep. So this printer will go to 2 stories. We can put an addition on the top of that. It's okay. You start to get sort of a lot of you're reliant on the wind and the dynamics, and you've got to slow down. What we've done previously is for whatever we want upstairs, because you need expansion joints anyway. It's like concrete, right? So we print the upper story panels on the slab while you're printing the lowest story house, right? And then you just pick them up with a spider crane and sort of put them in position.
I'm glad you brought up the expansion joints, because that was the next question. Where would those expansion joints go? There would have to be some sort of Australian, or there would have to be some sort of standard, full stop. And would they follow the whole way up? Do you have to stagger them? There's lots. Like
we can run that through us. We've got custom software that actually gives you an FEA model of the out when you input it. It's really cool. So the Australian standard, I think, in the concrete code or the masonry code is every 6 meters, I believe, which is probably a little bit. So we don't put an expansion joint as such, but we know now, right, where to put them. So if we're coming along with the layer, we'll put like a 20 mil wobble in the wall. You know what I mean? And we encourage it to crack there, and it's designed to crack there. And then at the end of it, we run even while it's wet, we run a perfect line down there. We'll Sikaflex it up, and we'll put a flashing over the top. It looks really neat.
How quick can you put up a 250 square house?
250. I'll give you an example. We just recently printed 2 3-bedroom homes for Homes Victoria on the same block, one in front of the other. So that was a single story up to 2.7 meters high. I think there was 4 days of printing for each home, and that was a 2 to 3 man operation. So and half the time you're just sitting there doing nothing, right? You're watching the iPad, watching the camera, and it's awesome. If they're sitting down, it's the best thing that can happen.
What about renovations?
Yeah, it's no different to a double brick wall, I suppose. So yeah, same as treat it as a double brick house.
And all of the attachments and all, like the way you would attach a double brick house to a standard renovation, perfectly fine.
Yeah. So what we tend to do, if you want some obviously uplift restraint and build a parallelogram up when the wind blows, we put tie rods. We camp set tie rods into the slab, appropriate sort of dimensions. We leave them about 300 mil high. We put a double nut on the top, like an extender nut. Print around them, and then at the end of the job, we thread the big one down, which is really easy. Lock it off, and then we use a timber top plate. If it's exposed or whatever appropriate grade timber, and we pull that down, stick a flex on the top layer, to weatherproof it, and then pull that timber top plate down to the top of the printed walls. And on this house, there's no columns in the wall. The composite action plus the strength of it, and the tie downs. There's no internal columns. It's just all cavity. And I've got a traditional sort of timber floor on this roof. And it works. It's rigid. And this house has been here now 2 years. 60 Minutes did a story on this house from sort of go to woe to go. That's the other way. And there's zero movement. No skirting boards. We corked between the polished slab and the walls, and no sort of coving. Did the same. Zero movement, because I can see on the cork, I would see it on the cork. So no cracking, no movement. And this is part of us really, everyone has it at the start, you go, oh, it's cracking, oh, the wind's blowing, you get it, but we've perfected our craft, I suppose, and our mixtures and yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. And do you see like I think this is going to be an evolving thing. I think this is going to be it should be the one of the next ways to go for.
It has to, right? So you've got to do something.
It's efficient. It's basics efficient. It's product efficient. It's environmentally efficient. It's incredible.
And being additive manufacturing, you only use what you put down. We're not cutting an 6 meter bit of timber, and then throwing the other meter away, or so it's sufficient. We have a little bit at the start when we're sort of pumping through the lines to get it going, a little bit at the end, but we've got a mold on site, that makes landscaping blocks. So everything goes in there, so you're not turning over skip bins every 3 days.
Are they is the printing method, is it landscape appropriate? Can you use the product to retain?
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's a good question. You can either you can print the two skins and then you can fill it full of concrete if you need the extra, loading, or we can put zigzag reinforcement in the, within the cavity that you don't see when it's sort of finished. So yeah, well, we've got engineers here, and so you just tell us what your loadings are, and it's pretty straightforward. Or we do a lot for council, like sort of park benches with integrated seats. We did fire rings here. Actually, we got a wood burning fire. Printed massive rings, for the garden where you stack all your wood in. Not that I'm stack wood in there, but
well, I bet everybody who's listening to this podcast right now, the one of the biggest questions are like, yeah, this is all well and good, but how much does it cost? Like, what can they expect for a full house build?
Yeah, and there was a lot of spruiking out there initially. Like, oh, you're going to print a house in 24 hours for $4,000, Yeah, always the way. Look, we're finding now we're good at our craft and our trade. This is public information, right? We printed an Aboriginal duplex up in Dubbo for the Aboriginal Housing Office in New South Wales, and that whole project came in at sort of 15% under, the traditional methods that they normally use, and we're only printing the structural walls, for example, the internals, the externals. But we're sort of seeing that, don't expect, 50% cheaper, and we're going to do it in 24 hours, and that's just not reality. So, but as we get better, and our materials develop, and we're pushing more recycled, sometimes expensive to be recycled and environmentally friendly, crazy. We will drive that down, but the time factor, even when we weren't so experienced, and our fourth generation machine goes up lightning fast. It's all sort of clicked together. So that helps, so you're not paying the bank interest on your construction loan, or you're not. So it's a combination. But if you say, look, it's a little bit cheaper to print and build at the moment, but you get the time factor and the savings, and off you go. And it will get better, faster. And we're adding more automation, like we're going to place PowerPoint, place Windows, place. So.
Do you find that like all the financing establishments, do you find that they have a hard time funding or financing these kind of things?
Not at all. So at the moment, it's not in the National Construction Code, right? And I was working with them initially, and I wrote a draft for them of the code, but it was meant to be 18 months, 2 years ago, right? So it'll be a while before it comes out. You don't want to add more bloody pages to that stupid book anyway. It's horrendous. But what was the question? Oh, compliance and bank funding. So we do a performance-based solution. We've got a third-party structural engineer that's sort of concrete-based. We've had him since day dot. So he does a performance-based solution for every job. It's almost a cut and paste now, right? So. And we've got university testing. We've got our own internal testing with a doctor and Boral's technical manager. We've got university testing. So we cover all that. We've got NADA testing. So we've got confidence, and we've got boots on the ground now, right? We've got 1,000 tons out there we've printed. So we've got longevity. So no, I would say. I got a pushback initially from insurance for this place. oh, it's like 20% more. I was like, bullshit, no, that's not right. The home next door that Marston built or something, it's made of timber and things, and it's going to burn like a candle, you know. So it got to the point they were really good. My underwriter, the insurance brokers, and they got the actual underwriter, the guy that signs the check for all the insurance, mostly insurance companies. So he came down to the house, met him here, came on a Harley, brilliant guy, and he goes, "You know what? You're right." I said, "I know I'm right," and we get it now, same price, if not a little bit lower. I said, "Mate, we should be 20% cheaper." So yeah, so no, we got all that covered off, and Combank are very interested in what we're doing. Yeah,
I think that there's only kind of one thing that kind of shouting out at me, and one of the things that I think particularly up here, one of the things that particularly up here that I think we'll have an issue with is like things like flood zones, and mine subsidence and landslip and things like that. I think we'd have a hard time with that, like implementing it in a few spaces up here, but I mean otherwise. We're talking, M class site, pretty flat, all of the estates that are ready to go. It's a get it in, get it done.
absolutely. And they're building a lot in Florida where there's tornadoes, right? And they've said the hurricane standards are quite easy to adhere to. We pull it down harder. We've got a lot more sort of we can add more flexibility in the system. But yeah, we're about to do a load of homes in flood affected areas where they built 10 small homes, right? I don't know, 50 square meters each. And then floods came through, they pushed them over, right? And they did it again, pushed them over again. So I was like, "Oh." So we've got sort of 10 perfect slabs there. So now they're engaging us to print it because look, we've got no skirting boards, polish the slab, put your power points up high, and you can hose the thing out, right? So power wash it out.
Do you print the slab as well, or does that get poured separately? Oh well, it would get poured separately. I get that, but like, would you incorporate it?
We can, yeah. We've trialed that in our outdoor sort of testing yard. Set the machine up, it's all coordinates, so it knows where it is better than a form worker with a hammer, right? So once you sort of reference that and how you do that, we don't do it because we've got a lot going on at the moment. But you can reference it, you can print the formwork on the outside, uh, whatever that sort of looks like and what the base is. If you need piers, put screw piers in there, and then sort of print around the piers. And then you can get the concrete truck in, and we put a high volume hose on it and sort of pump. It'll pump because we've got machine vision cameras, right? So we can tell it where to dispense more concrete, and then we can put recycled materials into the place it doesn't. Because typically a house slab is only 2/3. It's not doing anything, right? It's just a void former. So we can use recycled materials to dispense. It's looking at it and it puts the volume of concrete, the thick slab, where it needs to, and the rest it doesn't. And it'll put enough in there to know. Then you put a polishing head on it, and it'll come back, and polish it absolutely perfectly. There's no ups and downs. There's no where the guy stopped on the chopper and had a cigarette or something.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just,
Started raining, got too hot.
yeah, yeah. So it's possible. It'll do an amazing job, but we don't do it at the moment because we just got enough going on.
So we've talked about all the great things. There's so many things like there will never be a problem. Like there will never be an error. It would all be designer error. It would all be computer or operator error. It will never be hangover error.
So we capture so much data, so it's looking at the prints, the coordinates, it's got cameras on the head, it's got cameras looking outwards. So we can see, and it follows the code, right? All the machine code. So if we think we've got a problem somewhere, we can go back in the camera footage and actually see what's going on. We can see how hot it was, what the slump was on the water mix, what this was, what the temperature, the humidity, everything, right? And that all gets streamed up via 5G, to our server, our Contour Cloud. So the quality assurance and the logging of that is amazing. And I said to the National Construction Codes CEO, I said, look, yeah, you get your cylinders, and we take cylinders or something occasionally, but you get your cylinders at the concrete yard. Concrete truck comes to site, and the guy puts 200 litres in the back. So wet it up, mate. So I said we can't do that because it's on there. We're watching it. So things have got to change in the way that they look at it. You can't apply all the typical standards.
So we talked about all the good things. There has to be a downfall. What are the things that you are struggling with at the moment?
yeah, sleep. I work about 80 hours, 80 to 100 hours a
Me too,
week.
mate. Me too.
No, I love it. It's still so much to do, so much automation to add. And, the last 4 weeks I've been improving, building a slicer, that converts the plan into the 3D and adding so many more features and making it so much more easier. So it's just bulletproof. And there's things like that. And yeah, there's got to be, I don't know, the machinery's not cheap. You know what I mean? At the moment, it's, 700 grand for a big printer. Uh, but your return on investment, if you're doing it, we're cheap in the world in that regard. And so somewhat world's best, I think, in the quality and our actual technology and the automation that we've got in there with machine vision and self-correcting, and it can scan it, and it does its own as-built drawing, and so it's saving so much time. It'll do its own reinforcement plan. But the bad, yeah, honestly, yeah, all the guys are flogged sometimes because we work that hard, and but we want it. We want to make a difference. It hurts me that people can't afford a house. It's
Well,
horrible.
it's definitely going in the right way. I think it's so great. What about Bears and Joyce construction? Yeah, obviously we're not going to be able to build a full concrete house on top of Bears and Joyce. What are our next steps for the Bears and Joyce kind of construction method?
Yeah, so we get away from a timber floor, like this is what you're saying. So how do you build a concrete upper story? Is that what you mean? So yes, you can. I mean, as an overseas example, they're casting the second floor, obviously, but there's a lot of work in that, right? All propping and all the rest. So it is just like double. I suppose it's double brick again. What do you do if you want to put a brick house upstairs? Fortunately, one of the family businesses is in composite panels. So on this one, we built a kit of parts, like stick panels, and it absolutely flew up.
So and I would assume like if that's going if we're going to do those kind of designs, I assume we'd probably end up running a similar thing like I guess suspended slabs and appropriate columns and things like that.
And that's when we would put columns in the wall, I suppose. So we can print columns into the void in the wall, as we're going. Uh, so that's all possible. So and that's probably where we're going next. But we're also almost there with a mobile printer. So if we've got the big one downstairs, we can push it out the way and then put it up with a forklift or a spider crane, and then we can just go around with a mobile printer.
Do the internal walls, or do the internal walls come with external?
Internal, external. We can print a lot of things in the factory as well. The government's pushing very hard for prefab, as you would know. Uh, and yeah, we've got a prefab system. We've almost finished, which is really cool. So we can print 24 hours a day. We can get sort of two houses on a print bed, and that's when it becomes really, really efficient. And so it can be prefabricated, but it doesn't look like a caravan park. Still 50-year design life, and
It starts looking like Hobbit. There's a Hobbit town out at New Zealand where the hobbits live.
yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, it does, yeah. No, but that's the beauty of 3D printing, because say we have 10 core panels, you know what I mean, that modularize them, they all fit together, and you can build 100 different combinations, but then we can do a custom line, so every single one from the facade back, it's the same, but the facade everyone can be different, so you're not building a Smurf village, right? It doesn't care. The printer doesn't care. I always say it's code. So and that's where you can add that individuality, and you can have social housing or affordable housing with dignity. It's all different. You're not living in a hobbit village. But I mean, this is a very high-end house from where it is. So it doesn't matter. You get high-end homes, all the way down to social housing. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cheap, effective, again, all of the good stuff, and
bulletproof, right?
yeah.
It is literally. No, because the government spends $200 million a year on repairs and maintenance for social housing. I said to the premier, mate, I saved you $100 million. I want.
All the NDIS housing and stuff like that. Like sometimes you have to do all of that extra support, and all of those things that you got to fix all your handrails. You got to make sure the door handles and all the window, all the bits and pieces. Like that it's probably fantastic for that, actually, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Indigenous housing, social housing, NDIS housing, whatever. It's just flood based housing, fire zones. It is just 56, 60 MPa walls. They're just rock solid. If you want to put a hole in them, to do your best. 'Cause someone will come off worse than you.
Well, I mean, it would be fantastic for fire. Like you'd be probably safer in there than you would be anywhere else in the fire, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Like a clay oven. Just like from the inside out.
just a light glazing, a light glazing. But okay, so design wise, as a designer and all the CAD bits and pieces, all of the angles, all the curves. There's no wild curves that you can't do. What about bends? Like what's the sharpest bend you can go?
Yeah, look, with the Generation 4 printer, we can almost get a 90-degree turn on it now. Enough where we can do it, if we sort of modify a few things, but we haven't had the need yet. But yes, from very, very tight corners if you've got a bathroom, you want a square tile, yeah, we can certainly do that. Or if you want a curve that then sort of parametric as it goes up and puts a twist in it, and yeah, no problem. So knock yourself out. So I always tell people to go wild. Give me your wildest. We'll tell you what can and can't be done. But it really doesn't happen.
I've got a million ideas now that I just want to
I could bring
you
your
open
face in the wall.
with.
You can make
Well,
it bigger.
now, well, no, you don't want to do that for me because I'll just put it everywhere. So, okay, so what's your minimum arc?
As in, probably I think we say 30 mil, 40 mil radius, something like that. Is that what you mean? For turning a corner? Yeah, so pretty tight, right? So, and if we use a square nozzle, and we're doing certain things, and we use we've got scrapers, so we spoke about that before, print a flat wall. But if we come up to a corner, we rotate the nozzle, put the scrapers down, it will do almost a 90-degree wall, a 90-degree turn for all intents and purposes.
So when you're drawing and you're in your CAD file and all your bits and pieces, if we were to design something, oh, you'd be designing something out of morphs all the time. But I would assume if we did a design, we hand it off to you, you'd just cut the corners, or you'd do whatever you need to do to make it
And
suitable.
yeah, I always say to people, if it's architects, we don't be precious. We want to help. We want to make this work. Send us your files. We'll dump it in, and we'll say, look, this is what can be done. And knock yourself out. But if you're drawing a 2D, this is where if it's only a 2D shape, because a normal house is just a 2D shape extruded up, right? So yeah, but ours is proper parametric 3D because you can come up and then you can twist and turn, and you can do all funky stuff if you want.
You'd have the coolest light wells. Like you'd have the coolest light wells you'd ever have. That's it'd be so cool. But so one of the things that like going through my head at the moment, because you've got your waterfall island benches, which I mean they're there. But I mean, you could start to curve. You could almost put the floor in and like kind of lift it up out of the ground, and then make the bench top almost look like it's just lifting out of the ground, and you put all the cabinetry under it.
Yep, and yeah, we printed the island bench. Yeah, it's the first thing that got printed. We put a normal top on it or whatever it was, granite or something, marble. But yeah, you could. I certainly thought about that, but we had so much going on at the time. I was going to put a packers underneath it, print over the top, and polish the top.
It would be like grabbing all of your bench tops and all your bits and pieces out of the ground, and then you just make it all kind of work. And
And you can work with it after half an hour, whatever. You can sponge it, scrape it, craft it. So yeah, it would be really cool. You're making me think I missed an opportunity now.
you get me excited. You get me excited. Um, but yeah, it's like I think the beautiful thing about what you're doing is it's almost bringing like a natural form design into an industry that's relatively rigid, or I guess limited by engineering.
Yeah, engineering or commercial aspects to build up, and I'll send you some of the pictures to build what we've built here with some of the shapes and geometries. You can't do it. You double the price of a house, and you'd have a bricklayer there or somebody there, then the renderer for 8 weeks. So, yeah,
Oh, I'm not touching that, mate.
they're not around anymore. Average age of a bricklayer's 39 in Australia, I think, something like that. But the printer doesn't care, right? It's code. So
it just keeps going,
Yeah,
and like you can build like chairs and window seats out of it, and
yeah, we've done loads. Yeah, really funky stuff as well. Yeah, so
the window guys would hate you though because the amount of things that would come through as a custom window, incredible.
we've got it to the point where yeah, normal windows fit in the holes, in the typical sense. So yeah, so we've worked very hard on that, and doors and things, and you can pick up typical doors, standard frame, and the reveals, and then windows are the same. So yeah, that's something we sort of struggled with at first, but now, obviously, a couple of years down the track, we've refined that.
Yeah, nice one. How many times has someone come to you with a Dr. Zeus house?
Oh yeah, not enough. I love it. We printed a domed hut for a commercial customer, for the Sentinel hut where the guard goes up and down, and we printed it like an egg. It was really cool. So they let us do it. They just go, give us something wild. So it was yeah, that was good fun. I love that. Give us something challenging. Don't give me a box.
Oh, I'm thinking like stairwells that come out of like eggs and like and domes and like putting like separate little houses up the top and things like that. And it's like it's going to develop such.
We print normal stairs, sort of laid over. I'll send you a photo. But what I wanted to do, I used to live in France next to the Chateau Chambord. It's got 500 years old, but it's got a double helix staircase. So we've drawn it up, coded it, but I want to print a double helix. But that's where a corkscrew stair and then a corkscrew inside a corkscrew. So go two entrances, and they can go out at different levels, and not never at one point do they cross. So, yeah, so I love it. That's something you just can't. To build that, you need a craftsman, that's 60 years old, that's been in the industry for. But we just need a good coder.
Yeah, well, it would have taken those guys years and years and years to get that all correct, and just tap something in over a coffee break, and away you go.
Can't wait. I want to do it. I'm desperate to do it.
Well, what's next? What's next?
We've tried a lot of stuff with civil market, flower pots, domestic market, government housing, normal housing, this place. So I think we'll target sort of, we're selling the machinery and the technology. So we'll sell a printer that we manufacture, the software, the materials, and all that stuff. Because we want to get people out there. We want to get people using them and get them into the marketplace. Plus, we'll take on contracts for ourselves that we sort of win or negotiate for. We're looking at nine sort of units, social. They're quite high end, these ones actually. Units for it's a government based application, or if we take on Homes Victoria and the Victoria government are really interested to push on with more housing. So I think we'll take on stuff like that. High end builds that are of interest to us, that are something really cool. I'm not interested in building you a square box in the mid of suburbia at the moment. Yeah, so I think that's it. So, well, that is it. So we'll do select in-house printing for civil, I think, and that type of stuff. Because let's say you've got a custom drainage pit or whatever they Glen Lease have got all these massive developments, and this actually happened. A friend of mine, they ordered 20 pits, right, and then 18 were okay, and then the two of them, there was something in the ground, so they needed custom pits. So if he goes to the precaster, the guy goes, "Yeah, mate, now I've got to build your mold or modify one. It's got to be 2 weeks. I'll pour it. You can pick it up 2 weeks later, and it's going to be 20 grand. Well, we don't care. Send us a CAD file. We can print it that day, and you can pick it up a day later. It'll be 30 MPA a day later. So stuff like that. Cool. Let's do. We're not endlessly resourced, so cool stuff. And
It's industry changing. It's industry changing, and it's. I mean, it's taking that next step forward into designs.
sure.
Yeah, designs into efficiencies, into energy efficiencies and waste management. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. I started out, and I was willing to, if for it not to work, and burn some cash, but no, it's the further we go on, the more now we've got adoption, and we're not getting knocked back by certifiers that screwing their face up at us. No, it's really coming to life in that regard, and it's fun. I'm too old to go to work and not have fun anymore.
Yeah, that's it. You start your own business to get a little bit more time, right? So have you? So similarly to, I guess, rammed earth, you can get different colors and you crush them all together, and you can get like a really nice natural look. Is that a capability of the 3D printing as well, or is it pretty much one color and away you go?
Well, so we paint it. This one's painted because even, and that's a good question because I had that conversation, similar conversation today with a material scientist because we can do sort of dirt-based mixes. So, if you go in the outback, we can dirt it up, so I suppose for a large percentage. But this one, so there was 70 tons in this half of the duplex, for example, of our material. So if we're printing over whatever, however many days, even though it's the same batch, the weather of the day, you get variances in the batch, right? It's just lighter, darker. It doesn't give you the ability to touch a little thing up here or there. And I always say to people, it's like you'd have to seal it anyway, even though it's 60 MPa, you'd have to put some form of sealant, a clear sealant over it. But you don't render a wall, then just leave it. You go, mate, that looks awesome. It's sort of a similar principle. But the painting was really simple. People go, oh, you can't paint it. So, but because we were polishing the floor, had a first grind done, printed all the walls, put the biggest tip on the gun, an undercoat, like a Dulux green render sealer, two coats of weather shield or something inside and out. It just went on really quick, and then the floor grinder comes back in, polishes the top, you're done, gets rid of the overspray. So it was very efficient, actually.
Just get in there, move in within a
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Well, this one sat here for a year and a half, and I thought I got to move in.
It's been wasted. Um, if someone off the street turns around and goes, "Yeah, right, I want to do this 3D printing stuff," one, you're down in Vic, but like, how do they do it up here? How can people kind of get involved with this situation up here at the moment?
Yeah, we're looking for. We've got someone that's interested to take a printer in up your way. But if it's of interest, we would certainly come up. We're talking to one of the government or councils, I should say, up there to do an amenities block, for example, like Dunny Kings. I don't know why we do so many amenities blocks, but it's good. The tough thing, and you get a funky shape, and yeah. So, but that would be the way. If not, for a big deal, if it's a development or something, they can fly down here, go to the factory. You can come through here. That's why I sort of moved in. It's always available to come and look at and walk through. And we've got a lot of jobs around the area as well. And we've got jobs in Melbourne. We've got jobs so we can, and that's sort of where it's at the moment, unfortunately.
No, well, it's new. It's exciting. There has to be some downfall, right? Do you find that you have an issue with like reception and Wi-Fi and all the bits and pieces in such a thick
No, no, I've
product?
got normal. Actually, the Wi-Fi's in this room, the distributor as such. No, not really. Maybe it should. Maybe it should actually, but no, I don't know why. But I think I got one here, and then it goes. I got one behind the TV, and I got another booster upstairs, and just the sub little things that. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So no, in that regard, no problem. Yeah. The sound installation's amazing, actually.
I bet it would be.
And with corduroy, yeah. I'm in this room now, hard floors, polished floors, hard ceiling, and it just refracts the sound. So, and we've got double glazing, right, as well. But I will say my girlfriend's car was on the road. We live on quite a busy road going down to Cronulla. And someone, 2 lanes, 70 kilometres an hour, she was parked in next on the main road in the third lane, the gutter. Someone turned, I think to pick up her phone, hit the car at 70 kilometres an hour, pushed it 20 metres down the road. And the neighbour's ringing me. It's on a Sunday. She goes, "Oh, your car's been hit." And I was like, "Nothing." I walked outside. There was police, fire, ambulance. I didn't hear anything. Horrific. The girl was okay, fortunately, but yeah, but still, cars are a mess. Gone. So.
You've got a bunker there, mate. That's what you've got. You've got a bunker.
Yeah. So we worry. Nothing.
Can you do excavation work? Like, can you do cellars and can you do
I have a
cellars
wine
and
cellar in this house, actually, in the lounge room with a glass lid. Yeah. So yeah. So I'll send you a photo. I've been lazy, actually. I had the glass lid on it. I took it off, and I've got to build a staircase and
Yeah, right, mate. I'm excited. I want to see it. Never mind everybody else. I want to see it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. What are some examples? What are, other than your place? What are the examples that other people can probably watch and go and have a bit of a look at?
Yeah, so around here, so you've obviously got this place. We've got a display at the factory. We've got amenities blocks. We've got small homes around the area. So yeah, there's never a shortage of sort of places to look at, and it's good. It does give you a real feeling of everyone that walks in this place goes, "Wow, I didn't get it." That's an absolute consistent. Oh my God, it's amazing. Even the premier and the state housing ministers, I didn't get it. So it's really something special. I haven't even got artwork on the walls. Someone pointed that out. I didn't notice, because the walls in the lounge room, they're sort of corrugated. It's really funky. So,
Yeah, you don't need it. It's interesting enough.
I had an apartment over the beach, and I moved it to semi-suburbia, but I love it.
It looks fantastic. I think you've done an awesome job, mate. I think I really like where this is going, and I think it's probably one of the next steps that will probably come into the industry and take over. The price is right, all of the stuff is right. I think, you know what I mean, and I think I'm excited for the fact that it's starting to eventuate, and it's going to exercise our ability to start to break the confines of the normal design industry, and then build some really amazing things that are worthy of like the old school architects that have done the designs.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. Don't build a Hobbit village, that type of thing. Let's do something cool, architectural, and everything's got character. But yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of inquiry from builders, that are sort of sick of it, not sick of the trade, but they've been doing it for that long, and how do they get off the tools, and just watch something print, that type of thing.
I mean, I say it all the time because I always have great guests on, but this is something that I've had a real passion about, and I love to see that this is actually a thing, and becoming a thing. It was something that we spoke about at uni, and like all that kind of stuff, and now it's now here, and I think it's great.
It's good. I feel satisfied. I'm never satisfied, but it's to get to this point, now we can do it. We can do everything. I don't know if you're an iPhone user or one of them, a Samsung, but we're probably like the iPhone 4 or 5 at the moment, in that development, and with so much, it's really cool. We're doing it solid, but we can see where that's going, further automation, and really sort of drive that efficiency up, I suppose, in home building.
Well, efficiency is going up, costs are coming down, builds are going faster, all the good things.
Yeah, what is it? Since 1991, the efficiency, the building trade per hour worked by builders is half. So we're building half the amount of homes per hour worked than we were in the 90s. Maybe that's because there's less trades. They don't care anymore. You know what I mean? I say customer service drops. They put their prices up. And it's
More smokos.
yeah, exactly, snowball effect. I get it.
How many smokos can they have while holding an iPad?
Yeah, exactly. 100. Close your eyes, and the alarm will go off. This is a problem.
Honestly, I can't wait to see all the stuff that you come up with, and I really appreciate you coming out tonight. Honestly, it's been fantastic to talk to you.
Excellent. I'd say you're welcome to come down and have a look, or if we're coming up your direction, I'll tap on your door.
Mate, I'm all about it. I'm definitely going to come down and have a look. No, cheers, mate. Thank you. Honestly.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's ep of The Lounge. To make sure you don't miss out on the next episode, hit subscribe. We'd love to get the message out to more homeowners like you. Make sure you leave a rating and a review, and we'll see you on the next ep.